On August 31st, 2025, the world's attention turned to Tianjin, where Indian Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping met at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Isolated by the West, India sought common ground with China, both facing global pressures. Xi invoked the image of the dragon and elephant dancing together. Together, they represent nearly a third of humanity and engines of global growth. The handshake in Tianjin may have set the tone for a new era. India and China's relationship is a paradox, ancient ties, but modern rivalry. The optimism of the 1950s, symbolized by Hindi Chini Bye Bye, was shattered by the 1962 border war, leaving deep scars. The line of actual control remains a flashpoint, a 100-mile wound that never fully healed. The 2020 Galwan Valley clash, the deadliest in decades, froze relations and brought both sides to the brink. Years of standoff followed, with tens of thousands of troops deployed in the Himalayas. The path to Tianjin was slow. A tentative thaw began at the 2024 BRICS summit, followed by confidence-building steps like reopening pilgrimage routes and diplomatic visits. A 10-point consensus helped reduce tensions, but mistrust lingers, especially among military and security circles. The border is still heavily militarized, and issues like China's alliance with Pakistan and dam projects on the Brahmaputra remain unresolved. The Tianjin meeting wasn't a final resolution, but a courageous step toward managing a troubled history. The journey from conflict to cooperation is far from over. The future depends on sustained effort and mutual restraint. The Modi-Xi summit's core achievement was agreeing not to let the border dispute define the entire relationship. Both leaders acknowledged troop disengagement and signaled a shift from confrontation to management. By compartmentalizing the border issue, they opened space for progress in trade and cultural exchange. Modi raised India's record $99 billion trade deficit. China responded by easing export restrictions on key materials. The summit solidified a commitment to more balanced, mutually beneficial trade. With US tariffs looming, both sides discussed alternative payment systems and supply chains less reliant on the West. This is about more than tariffs. It's a strategic move toward a multipolar economic order. The Tianjin Consensus is about rebuilding trust, with border de-escalation and trade as building blocks. Xi and Modi's calls for partnership signal a desire to move from rivalry to cooperation. Tangible steps, like resuming direct flights and tourist visas, aim to foster people-to-people ties. The foundation for lasting peace is being laid, but it will require vigilance. The real test will be turning goodwill into durable change. The India-China reset is shaking up global geopolitics. For years, US strategy relied on India as a counterweight to China. Now, their warming ties challenge this logic. Modi's insistence on strategic autonomy signals India won't be drawn into great power rivalries on others' terms. Amid the Ukraine war and US-China tensions, both India and China have resisted Western pressure to isolate Russia. Their partnership strengthens a bloc of nations unwilling to follow the West's lead. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization is emerging as the institutional heart of a multipolar order. The Tianjin summit, with leaders from Russia and Iran, showcased a vision of distributed global power. Discussions on reducing dependence on the US dollar and Western financial systems challenged the post-war economic order. The dragon and elephant dancing together could shift the world's economic center of gravity to Asia. This is not a formal alliance, but a pragmatic convergence of interests. Competition remains, but the Tianjin meeting shows that cooperation is possible, and the West is watching closely. The global balance is shifting, and Asia is at the center. A vital part of the reset is reviving cultural and people-to-people ties. Years of tension froze exchanges, but the resumption of flights and visas is reopening communication. Modi's cultural welcome in Tianjin and his meeting with the Indian diaspora sent a message of friendship. These gestures counter years of hostile rhetoric and remind both nations of their deep, shared heritage. Renewed cultural engagement is strategic, building empathy and resilience against future tensions. Educational exchanges, joint films and tourism are investments in long-term stability. The reopening of pilgrimage routes to Tibet touched deep spiritual chords. Both countries face similar challenges: urbanization, environment, public health, and can collaborate for mutual benefit. The summit has unlocked new potential for academic and cultural cooperation. The message is clear. It's time to move beyond suspicion and embrace a shared future. The real bridge between India and China may be built by their people, not just their leaders. The Tianjin meeting has set a new pragmatic course for India-China relations. Commitments to manage the border, boost trade, and rebuild cultural ties mark a significant shift. The immediate benefits are clear: reduced military tension, more balanced trade, and a stronger Asian voice globally. But challenges remain: deep mistrust, a militarized border, and unresolved disputes like the Brahmaputra Dam and Tibet. China's Belt and Road and its ties with Pakistan worry India. India's partnerships with the US and Japan concern Beijing. These geopolitical rifts will test the Tianjin consensus. The real work lies in sustained diplomacy and mutual accommodation. The spirit of Tianjin will be tested not in summits but in the daily management of difficult issues. The future will be a delicate dance between cooperation and competition. The shared goal of a multipolar world gives both sides reason to stay the course. The journey will be long and demanding, requiring constant vigilance. For now, the dragon and elephant have chosen to dance, offering hope for Asia and the world. The challenge is to keep the music playing,